Camila Serrano never meant to wander past the door with no sign. It was late September and she was hurrying from the bus stop to the apartment she shared with 3 politely indifferent cats. A drizzle slickened the San Telmo cobblestones, and her tote bag stuffed with audit printouts from the telecommunications firm that paid her for her gift with numbers kept banging her knee. When the rain thickened, she ducked into the nearest building. A derelict warehouse that should have been locked. Inside, a single bulb glowed above worn parquet. The wooden floor showed the ghostly outlines of rectangles, as though it were perpetually set for dancing. Camila frowned at the hum she felt more than heard, a pulse that trailed from her sternum to her toes. Then she noticed the faint scent of leather-soled shoes and cologne, although no one else was there. Long decades of fearing embarrassment commanded her to leave, but the pulse deepened, reaching a rhythm she recognized. The 4-count 2-step of Tango milonguero, except there was something extra. A skipped 8th beat that made her heels twitch. It was the same oddity her data had been whispering about for weeks. Camilla's job involved anomaly detection. She built algorithms that highlighted outliers in streaming telecom traffic. Early in August, she had noticed a pattern, a nightly spike in messages containing old lunfardo slang and references to el compres perdido, the lost measure. Each spike peaked at exactly 0:47, then vanished. The messages came from numbers that didn't otherwise exist. She had chalked it up to a botnet playing nonsense games, until the pulse inside the warehouse matched the phantom measure. That coincidence lifted curiosity above timidity. She adjusted her glasses, stepped farther in, and the door shut itself with finality. "Late for the rehearsal, aren't we?" A baritone voice slid from behind a column. Its owner emerged, tall, silver-haired, wearing a charcoal vest and dancing shoes that gleamed like black mirrors. His posture was formal but loose. So relaxed it looked impossible not to trust him, yet his calm fed Camila's panic. I'm sorry," she stammered. "I'm just escaping the rain." "Everyone comes here to escape something," he said, unfazed. "I am Maestro Enrique Arancibia. And you?" "Camila Serrano." The maestro tilted his head. "Serrano? Any relation to Belen Serrano, the milonguera who dazzled La Boca in 71? "My grandmother," Camila whispered before she could stop herself. "Ah!" Enrique smiled, as though the answer confirmed a prediction. "Then you carry the hinge between 2 worlds. The pulse brought you. Best not fight it." Across the floor, an old gramophone crackled, releasing a bandone's sorrowful wail. Enrique offered his hand. Camila backed away, shaking. "I don't dance." "Not yet," he said, "but you were born to. And we don't have much time." A bang of thunder punctuated his sentence. The lights flickered, replaced for a moment by a vision, rows of dancers whose faces were masks of obsidian and bronze, moving with lethal grace. Behind them loomed a figure in crimson armor holding a spear that dripped fire. Then the ordinary warehouse reasserted itself. "What was that?" Camila gasped. "History," Enrique answered, "or the future, depending on how good your tanda becomes." In the days that followed, logic should have driven Camila away. Instead, she returned to the silent warehouse after work, drawn by the unfinished chord she felt humming beneath Buenos Aires. By the 3rd visit, Enrique had given her a pair of worn heels that somehow fit perfectly and smelled faintly of gardenias and charcoal. He said little, only that tango had begun long before brothels, long before immigrants, even long before drums on the Rio de la Plata's muddy shore. "Every step is a syllable of an older language," he told her, guiding her through basic ocho cortado. "Dancers are vessels. Each embrace invites a presence." Camila listened, pretending skepticism, while her feet discovered instincts she did not recall learning. The floor mapped itself onto her muscles like a birthright, yet. The moment she felt confident, Enrique would break the cadence with that forbidden extra beat, a syncopation that made her body stall as though tripping over invisible wire. "That gap," she said, catching her breath. "It isn't in any score." "It was removed," he replied. "After the War of Shadows in 1871, too many gods were answering the call. Most of them left when the rhythm changed, but one lingered, nursing rage. You met him in that lightning flash. The Mapuche called him Kalfu Pilan, Lord of War and Volcanoes. Outlawed from the heavens, he wants a new battlefield. On New Year's Eve, every plaza from Constitution to Palermo will throb with tango. If someone dances the full compis perdido, Kalfu takes the lead, and blood follow." Enrique paused, noticing her incredulous stare. "I teach you that 8th beat, so you will claim it first and deny him entry." "Maestra," Camila said carefully, "I pass Celtoa logs, not mythology." He sighed. "You pass gaps, inconsistencies, things that shouldn't exist. This is no different. Besides, the gods respect statistics as much as any ritual. Show Kalfu a pattern he cannot break, and he must retreat." Camilla returned home each night nursing aching calves and an aching brain. The analyst in her wrote code to visualize the compás perdido, converting steps into vectors, accelerations, torsions. Attitude angles became columns on a spreadsheet. She searched for the minimal movement that still implied the forbidden beat, what Enrique called leaving a seat empty at the celestial table. If she could dance the rhythm while appearing conventional, perhaps she could trick a deity with simple camouflage. The weeks raced. Buenos Aires ripened into December. Jacarandas shared violet memories onto sidewalks, and humidity clung like an overbearing aunt. Camila's co-workers noticed she no longer left the office last. The cats tolerated her new schedule only because she bribed them with salmon pâté. Every few days, Enrique tested her progress. They practiced not only figures, but the art of presence, how to fill silence with intention, how to listen through the ribcage. More than once, Camilla felt something brush the edge of her consciousness, like the awareness of another heartbeat inside her own. Enrique said it was Bombo, the gentle drum spirit of the Pampas, protecting her. She chose not to argue. The name felt like a warm hand on her shoulder. A week before Christmas, Camilla arrived to find the warehouse packed. Dozens of dancers formed perfect lines. Each couple traced loops so precise that eyes alone could not follow. Yet the music was soft as a lullaby. The dancers weren't practicing steps. They were assembling an enchantment. Enrique greeted her with unusual gravity. "Tonight we test the barrier." The orchestra struck a sharper note, and Camilla felt the space fold inward. One by one, the dancers dropped out, panting, until only Camila and Enrique moved. She recognized the sequence they had rehearsed, a smooth progression of ocos, crosses, and a final gancho that landed on the unspoken 8th beat. As they executed it, the parquet emitted sparks. A wave of heat clawed upward, smelling of lava and wet metal. Camila's neck prickled with childhood fright, but she held the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, pause 8. The heat snapped shut like a blown door, replaced by ice. In the hush, a low roar hovered above them, disappointed but waiting. "Good," Enrique murmured, voice trembling. "We denied him entry, but he'll come harder on New Year's Eve. Tonight he learnt your scent." Camila spent the holiday week drifting between worlds. She visited family gatherings and responded to small talk, yet half her mind counted pulses in background noises. The train on the Mitri line, a stray dog's bark, the drip of the kitchen faucet. Everything contained 7 plus a gap, then 1. The missing beat hid everywhere, like a knife inside a folded napkin. The city prepared for its famous year-end tango marathon. Flyers promised 12 straight hours of dancing across plazas, culminating at midnight in Plaza Dorrego. Reading them, Camilla's stomach twisted. Plaza Dorrego was 3 blocks from her apartment. If she failed, blood would wash her street. 2 nights before the new year, Enrique introduced her to Victor Rojas, national stage champion and viral sensation. Victor's swivel steps and smouldering stare populated billboards from Retiro to Ezeiza. In person, he radiated charisma that felt almost electrical. "The maestro tells me you're crafting a new variation," Victor said, clasping her hand. His grin was too wide. Something about his eyes didn't track like a camera with the shutter stuck open. She returned the handshake while quiet analytics whirred in her brain. Victor's grip was fractionally hotter than normal, pulse intense as if blood were simmering. Sweat beaded his temples, though the room was cool. Later, she confronted Enrique. "He's infected." "Yes," the maestro admitted. "Yes," the maestro admitted. "Calfu slipped through a crack when you barred the door. He's wearing Victor as a test shoe, but the real possession needs the full compass on New Year's. Victor plans to unleash it at midnight, unless you take the floor instead." Camilo laughed bitterly. "I'm a Shahi auditor. He's a superstar." "Stars burn out fastest," Enrique said. "You only need to intercept his first 8 measures. After that, the war god's energy will rebound. The city's dancers will flood the floor with ordinary rhythms, suffocating him." On the morning of December 31, Camila sat at her desk and typed a notice of resignation. It felt unreal, but she would not need spreadsheets where she was going. She shut down her workstation, surprised by how little nostalgia clung. At home, she fed the cats early. Then she donned a midnight blue dress that had belonged to her grandmother back when Bellinzerano had defied curfews and governments with a single bugliola. The hem smelled faintly of old smoke and champagne. Into the lining, Camila stitched a flash drive holding all her anomaly code. If she failed, perhaps someone else would decode the rhythm. Dusk fell, hot and windless. Fireworks already crackled over La Boca. By 10 o'clock, Plaza Dorrego pulsed with music and bodies. String lights cast golden halos on sweating foreheads. Camila pushed through, heels clipping stone. Enrique waited near the fountain, wearing an immaculate white suit. He pressed a kiss to her forehead. "Remember," he said, "the forbidden beat is only forbidden to him because he twists it. You will dance it straight." Camila stepped onto the floor as the DJ announced the final tanda of the year. Victor and his partner, a statuesque woman in red, glided to the center. Phones lifted everywhere to capture the inevitable viral clip. Bandonans wailed the opening bars of La Compasita. The air thickened. Camila felt, rather than saw, a meteor shower of unseen sparks swirling around Victor. His chest expanded. The crowd screamed. She closed her eyes, inhaled. There, the city's pulse beneath the bandoneon. Subway rails far below. Heartbeats of feral cats, the metallic thud of fireworks. She threaded them together into a lattice of 8. Her first step landed like a yes. She pardoned no one. An invisible lead guided her. She pivoted, foot brushing ground so lightly that dust lifted. On 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, she crossed behind herself and held the gap. A boom rattled window panes. When Camila opened her eyes, Victor was staring straight at her, partner forgotten. His pupils glowed ember red. He mirrored her sequence across the plaza, daring her. With the 8th beat, he stomped, splitting a granite tile. From the crack crawled smoke shaped like jagged spears. The crowd recoiled. But cell phones remained aloft, recording. Always recording. Calfu loved witnesses. Camila advanced. The air between them trembled like asphalt in summer heat. She executed a Molinetti around emptiness, letting momentum sling her toward him. At precisely measure 13, she inserted her camouflage, an ordinary ocho corto, then pivoted into the lost beat again. Calfu lunged, but her detour confused him. His spear of smoke dissolved into sparrows. Someone in the crowd began to clap along, missing the 8th beat because they could not hear it. Another joined, then dozens. Their uneven claps created static white noise in sacred arithmetic. Camila seized the chaos, embedding it inside her next figure. Victor snarled. The sound was a furnace door slamming. He vaulted over a bystander and descended in a scissor kick aimed at Camila's head. She slid into a deep quartet, and the kick whooshed overhead. Rising, she placed her palm against his chest. His heart hammered like a bass drum too large for its skin. She whispered numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, vacío, ocho. Her breath carried the count into his bloodstream. For a heartbeat he froze, enslaved to arithmetic. Camila spun away, drawing him with an invisible harness until both bodies described an infinite symbol on the stone. Fireworks cracked 12 strokes above. Midnight rolled across San Telmo. Dancers kissed and shuffled. Their collective movement erupted into thousands of minor rhythms colliding. The plaza tilted. The sound of feet became oceanic. Kalfu howled. The war god needed singular rhythm, a straight column of soldiers. Instead, he stood in a maelstrom of contradictory beats map of a city that had survived dictators, recessions, heartbreaks beyond counting. Each dancer was a statistical anomaly. Together they formed a data set no sword could summarize. Camila completed the final figure, gancho, foot hooking behind Victor's knee, pulling him off balance. As he fell, she released the 8th beat, not as silence, but as laughter. A peal so ordinary it dissolved the supernatural varnish. Smoke ripped free of Victor and shot upward, scattering into fireworks that had missed their fuse. The champion lay gasping, eyes brown again, sweat mixing with tears. Around them, revelers resumed dancing, convinced they had witnessed nothing more than street theater. Camila stood shakily. Bombo's phantom hand squeezed her shoulder, proud. Enrique surfaced through the crowd, relief watering his eyes. "You did it," he said. "The compares is safe for another century." "I only followed the data," Camila replied, and hugged him. The media crew pushed forward, shoving microphones. "Sincerita, that was incredible choreography. What do you call the step where you suspended time?" Camila smiled. "An old family trick. But it only works on New Year's Eve, and only when everyone dances." The crew laughed, scribbling. Satisfied, they hurried off to file their segment. Enrique slipped a folded paper into her palm. "Keys to the warehouse. Teach others," he said. "Balance depends on many small dancers, not one heroine." She watched him vanish into the mosaic of celebrants. A breeze scattered confetti like final pixels of a rendered dream. Camila exhaled. She was no longer a shy data analyst, nor yet a maestro. She was simply part of the rhythm, steward of a silence that protected the city. On cue, the bandoneon began a fresh milonga, jaunty and bright. She stepped forward, letting the 8 counts find her spine. Somewhere above, a frustrated volcano spirit growled at the edge of the atmosphere, searching for a new doorway. Below, Buenos Aires answered with laughter, guitars, and the confidence of feet that knew precisely when to wait and when to storm the floor.